Howdy everyone, this is Tricia and welcome to my channel. This year I will be doing a farmhouse themed Christmas. All the supplies that I will be using will serve as a basis to show you how I put items together for my projects. I hope that they will serve as an inspiration to give you ideas on how you can put things together for your holiday decorating. And I hope that you will enjoy this whole series. And as always, to all of you, Merry Christmas. Alright everyone, today we are going to be making a Dollar Tree Christmas tree wall decor. So let me show you what the supplies are going to be, as this was another little challenge that I gave myself to walk into the Dollar Tree and grab all my supplies from there. Alright, we are going to start off with two of these Dollar Tree Christmas trees. This is the label so that you can see it right there. It's really the only one they have. They have it in green and they have it in white. You can choose whichever one you want. I went ahead and I went with a green. Let's put it over to the side. You're also going to need one of these little bells. If you don't find a little bell, you can get a little plastic container or just a styrofoam that we're also going to be using, and some moss, which I also grabbed from the Dollar Tree. We're probably going to be using some of these wired garland ties. Make sure you grab some of these. These have a little pine look to them. I grabbed a couple. I pretty much think I'm only going to use maybe one package or just a few out of the one package. Alright, we're going to want some little lights on our tree. So I went ahead and I picked these LED lights. These are in red and it's a pack of 10 and they're battery operated. So make sure you grab yourself some batteries as well. And I've gone ahead and I've grabbed 2 packages. And I'm going to need some ribbon. So I have these ribbons from the Dollar Tree. These are not from their Christmas. This is from one of the regular. But you can pick it from their Christmas, what they have there at the Dollar Tree. I do also have another ribbon that is not from the Dollar Tree. But I definitely want to use it. So it's this one right here. So basically just pick the ribbon that you like, that you happen to have from the Dollar Tree, and use that. Okay. I grabbed a few little ornaments, just these 3 right here, these little snowflakes that look like they're on burlap with a little pine and some pine cones right there. I thought they were really cute and they'll go with the look that I'm looking for my farmhouse. And then I grabbed some Christmas ornament balls, and this is a pack of 15, and they're small little balls. I'm probably not going to use all of them, but I like that they have some that look like snow and they're like glittery, and this is just a satin, kind of a soft gold finish, and that goes with the burlap color. Alright, those are all my supplies. I am going to be using my hot glue gun and glue sticks, wire cutters, scissors, and some chenille stems, if not some cable ties, which I happen to have right here. Okay, these are all from the Dollar Tree. The pipe cleaners that I have here are not, but you can get pipe cleaners from the Dollar Tree. The same thing, as I said, I'm going to use my own ribbon from another store, but you can get Dollar Tree ribbon. So this challenge has been met. I'm just going to switch it over a little bit. Okay, so the first thing I did was put batteries inside of my light strings, and just to make sure that they do work, and they both do. Okay, so these are ready to be put to the side. Alright, the second thing we want to do is we want to prepare this belt, and I actually want to cut it in half, and I'm just going to be using my scissors. I'm going to take this little hanging string that's right on it, and then I'm not going to need this little knob, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it on there actually, because I think I'm going to do something to that. Okay, so we want to cut it in half, so you probably want to mark it with maybe a Sharpie, draw a little line, make sure that you're going to be cutting it straight. I'm just going to go into it right here. And then I'm going to cut going kind of behind that little knob. There we go. If I get to a hard part, then I'm going to go ahead and use my wire cutters. But so far, everything's fine. There we go. So we've cut it in half now. So this is what we want. And we want to go ahead and keep that little knobby. Okay, one thing I didn't show you was some little bells and some twine, which I thought about before, but then I forgot. But I do want to put some little twine hanging from here, some little bells possibly, maybe a little bow right there. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that on there for now. If I change my mind, I can take it off. Okay, so here I have it. You save this other one because it could be great for another little craft, by the way. All right, so anyway, we're gonna take a piece of styrofoam from our package. This was a package of 4 small little styrofoams. If you have the one, if you grab the one that's 1 whole brick, then you can just cut off, slice off a piece with your little craft knife. We're gonna be putting this inside of our little bell, but as you can see, it sticks out some. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of shaving. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my little craft knife, and I'm gonna mark here where it's gonna have to be shaved off. And just carefully. And I kind of went at an angle when I was cutting it. So I went up a little bit. So I've got kind of a wider part up here. You don't have to worry about that. But that's what I did. Okay, so I'm gonna put that right in there. And I do want my bell, when I put it on the wall, to be flat. So I'm going to be checking this, and it needs to be trimmed just a little bit more on this bottom part. Okay. And just make sure that it is flat up against it, even if it's just a little bit inside. A little bit outside, it doesn't matter. You can just push into the styrofoam and that makes it go, it indents it inward. So that's okay. So this is either going to hang on a wall, probably on a door, but we want this to be flat so that on the sides we don't see the styrofoam. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to get a little bit of moss now. And we're not going to take very much of it. Just a little bit and make a mess. Okay. Let's cut this off. I'm going to take my bell, turn it around again so that I have where I can see it from the inside. Take my moss, put it right in there. Try not to bulk it. You just want to kind of be able to hide the styrofoam once it's in there. Just trim off what you think is too bulky. Someone said they didn't like me cleaning as I was doing this, but you know what? If I don't clean, you're not going to see details, so I have to clean off the mess. Okay, here we go. All right, put that back in there. I'm going to turn it around and make sure, yeah, I can't see my styrofoam. I can see it a little bit on this side over here, so I'm just going to move the styrofoam, or the moss actually, spread it a little bit more to the side. Make sure when you put it back in that it doesn't push the moss inward, and just fix it so that you don't see the green. Covers it from the bottom and from the side, so that's good. So now I'm going to take a couple of these chenille stems right here, and right where there's a little loop, because the bell has all these little holes, so that's why you want to use the little bell. Just slide it into one of those little holes and then another little hole on the other side. Let's see, let me find one right here. Okay, and then you can just bring that back and then just tie it real nice and tight. And then trim off the edges. And then what I do is I take the edges of any pipe cleaners, and if I can, stick them into any styrofoam. Do that, stick them in there so they're not sticking out and scratching up on your wall. Okay, so then we're going to put another chenille stem up a little bit higher. There's a little loop right here. There's another loop right here. Okay. Make it tight. Trim again the ends and poke that in there, into the styrofoam. There we go. And if you want to put some hot glue on there, make sure it's the stems, the ends stay in there, go right ahead. So this is what we have. This is just holding it from the back, and I want you to see it from the sides. Right there. And then the other side. I pulled it a little tight. There you go. And then this is what it looks like on the top. And we don't worry about this top part, okay? We're just going to do this. Okay, so if you didn't find this little bell to use, because it's really handy that it happens to have these little holes, or if you don't want to cut it, you can go ahead and use it like that, and it's just going to come off away from your wall, as a whole piece like that. But you still want to go ahead and put some moss in there to cover the edges of the bell, and then slide your styrofoam in there. You might want to hot glue it in there to make sure that it stays, and then just maybe tuck in the moss into it. If you have a solid little pot, then just hot glue your styrofoam in there. You don't have to worry about any moss, except maybe on the top and the little edges where the styrofoam might show. Okay, if you're not using any container at all, then you can just go ahead and take your little styrofoam bit, and if you have some greenery pins that I didn't grab, you're just going to take your moss and cover your styrofoam really well. Okay, so these are greenery pins. They're also called U-pins. This is what they look like. These are awesome for holding moss. So basically, what you want to do is you want to spread the moss out really well, even if you have to do it in little bits. Then you just use the pin to slide it in. You do a better job covering it than I did, and if you have to use more pins than what I'm using, of course use more, but just do a better job of covering it. But this is what the pin does. It holds it all in there. Just make sure these are covered as well. You might want to use a pin here and a pin there, and just make sure the sides are also covered and the front is covered. You don't have to worry about the back or the top, and then this will be your base for your little Christmas tree. So it's your choice if you want to use half the bell, a whole bell, or a little pot, or if you want to use the styrofoam. I'm going to use the half a bell because that was my original idea, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay, let's get to the tree. All right, so this is how our little Christmas tree comes boxed, and we're just going to slide it out. And then there's some pieces right here. These little pieces are actually the legs that slide into it so that you can stand the tree. We're not even going to use these because we're not going to be standing the tree into anything. We're actually just going to be taking this off and then just using the little tree without the little bits. Okay, so you can take those off and get rid of them unless you think you can use them for something. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to poof up our tree, and we're only going to poof it up the front part and to the sides. We're going to keep it flat on one side. Okay, actually we're going to kind of keep it flat over on one side, the back and the side as well. So just bring them upward and out to one side. Gotta figure out where these little branches are heading towards. Okay. We'll fix these up once we have the other tree with it. Okay, so now I've got this tree. And as you can see, I've directed the branches either upward this way or to the side. So the other tree, we want to do it also upward, a little bit of an angle, and then to the side. All right, so I've got my two little trees, one poof to one side and the other poof to the other. So now I'm just going to put them together back to form one bushier tree. So what we want to do is we either want to take the chenille, the pine tie, what is this called, a wire garland ties, or we want to use a chenille stem, or we want to use these cable ties that you also find at the Dollar Tree. Okay, we're going to take any one of those and tie this together. So I'm going to go ahead and take the cable ties and tie them first at the bottom so that I know that they're pretty much level. Some of these little bits here, this little kind of greenery threads, just trim off if they keep getting in your way. Maybe add a little bit of hot glue so they don't move. That little end just sticks down and stops fraying. That's what I'm going to do to this one. Just push it down with my glue gun. Okay. And hopefully I don't burn myself. Alright, so now we're just going to kind of try and get them to be as level as we can. And we're going to take our... Let's take this little thing and first slide it into itself. Tie it down just a little bit. And then we can go ahead and adjust these so that they're level like that. And then we can go ahead and tighten them, and I'm going to tighten them right where there's a little bit of that hot glue, which is nice. Just like that. Just tight enough to hold them together. It doesn't have to be so tight because then they want to slide right on top of each other, and we don't really want that. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing at the top. So just move some branches out of the way and do the same thing. Get another tie back here. And my fingers are getting dirty, 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 kind of a greenish dirt color from the tree. Okay, again, tighten it up, but not so tight that you make one just slide up on top of the other one. You want them next to each other. Just as long as they're next to each other is good enough. Now, if you don't like the look of the tie backs, then that's where you can use these little pine. And then you can just cover that up, come around the back, measure about how much you need, trim that off, twist it at the back, and again, make sure those little ends, because even on this pine it's got wire in there, you want to fold those little ends so that they're going in towards the tree and not outward from the back, because you don't want to scratch your wall. So we want to do the same thing on this other side, so we're going to use the other piece and cover that up as well. There we go. Turn this back around, and now what we can do is we can go ahead and fix it a little bit. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take our container, and this is where it's going to look really pretty, and you may already be satisfied with just the way that it looks like that if you're one of those minimalist decorators. So now what we want to do is we want to put some glue here so that we can slide it into the styrofoam here, and just slide it in as gently as you can so you don't break off all your styrofoam. But we want something to insert that into, and so that it will, this little basket will stay onto the tree. Now the basket is not holding up the tree in any way. It is just part of it so that it decorates the wall, so that it looks decorative. I guess is what the word I want to use. We want it to look decorative. Okay? So just slide it in there so that it's all pretty. Look at that. And then this little moss, you can just move it, whatever's up here, move it around and hide whatever styrofoam is up there. And there you go. Just go ahead and start adjusting your little branches. Poof it up as pretty as you can. There we go. All right, our tree looks fantastic. We have doubled it up. So now it looks like a really nice full tree, and it really only costs us $1 to do this. I'm going to tie these two little bits together. And I feel like they're too, like it's just too much. So I'm going to trim some of it off. You don't have to do that. Okay, as you can see, the tree looks really pretty just like that. And that will look really, really nice on a wall. So maybe like on your entry as someone walks in, and you might want to have this on there. Put your little battery operated lights on it and just light it up, just so that, you know, you have something pretty lit up, kind of like a sconce, if you will. So that when they walk in, they'll see the pretty little tree. And it doesn't have to be decorated. It'll be nice and simple, but we're going to decorate it because why not, right? Okay, so I'm going to take the lights now. And I want to put them on, but you can do this at the very end, just to make sure that your lights are not covering anything. But I'm going to do them for the purpose so that you can see how pretty it looks with just the lights on. And then of course when you put your lights on, you want to just go in the, don't go around through the back. You don't want to lose any lights back there. When I put my lights on, I use the little branches to kind of entwine the lights a little bit. Sometimes just a little tip just to hold the wire down, just so that it doesn't move. Okay, I'm going to do this so that you can see how this looks with just little lights. And as you see, I'm only using one string right now. We could use the 2 strings. Okay, and then your battery pack, you can just tuck it in the back, somewhere in the branches here, and just tie it with some chenille stems or with the wire tie backs. And then you can just reach behind and turn the lights on. There you go. See how pretty that looks with just a few lights on it? Just like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this these lights on it for now, because I do want to decorate and I don't want to hide any of the lights. So usually what you do is you usually put your you know, I don't know how you do your Christmas trees, but I like to put my lights on my actual real Christmas tree because I want to see where the lights are and I don't want to cover too much, you know, where a light might be. So I like to put the lights on there first. Okay, I'm going to tie this before I talk anymore. I'm going to use a couple of these branches back here and just wrap them against each other. And then into another one over here, just to kind of hold that little battery pack in there. And you turn it off, turn it on. So we'll see this in a little bit of a darkened room so you can see it a little bit better. Now on the back of it, up here at the top, I want to put a chenille stem where I want to hang it from because we need something where it's going to hook from. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take a chenille stem, a whole one, wrap it around as tight as I can, but don't make it so tight that you make the little tubes from the tree move out of place. And now I'm going to kind of make it like a little loop. Just loop it. Put a couple of fingers in there. Tie around those 2 fingers. You don't want this loop to be too big that when you fold it down like that, it's going to be, you know, showing and you're going to see it on the wall. So you make sure that these branches are covering your loop. So here's the loop. Okay, once you've made it, you can tie the ends onto around the little loop, or you could just trim them. I'm going to tie them around. Alright, so now that we have our loop at the back and we know where we can hang it from, we've covered it up with some chenille, some of the pine garland ties, some of these covered it up. So now we can also use these to add little branches, these little pieces, and we cut them in half. These longer bits, so we cut them in half. We have extra little branches so that if you only use one little tree, then you can just twist the bottom part of it onto another existing branch, and therefore you create another branch. And there you can make it a lot fuller. I've already added one here, one here. So I'm going to add a few more here and there where I feel like it looks a little bare, and I'm just adding more fullness to my tree. And then when I get done, these that are a little bit too long, because they're longer than as we go up, obviously the branches get shorter, I'll just trim them once they're already on here so that I can just kind of trim them according to the size of the ones that are next to it. At the bottom, they seem to be just fine, so we'll just see as I go up. Alright, I finished adding just a few little branches to my tree. It didn't really make too much of a difference because I am using 2 trees, but if you were just using one, that is a good way to add more branches, is by using these garland ties. Okay, I told you that I thought of something at the last minute. Now this twine is from the Dollar Tree. These bells are not, but you can get jingle bells from the Dollar Tree. They have them in little packages and they have them in different colors: silver, gold, red, and green. I've seen them, so you can go ahead and grab those. Unless you happen to have some jingle bells already in your home, which is what I'm going to do. So if this were a challenge where I wanted to do that, I certainly could meet up my challenge because they do have those items at the Dollar Tree. Okay, so I'm going to cut a piece of twine, and I'm just going to decide how long I want my jingle bells to kind of hang, and just cut off a piece. And then I'm going to slide one end on one, tie it up and knot it. And then I'm going to slide through this little knob. That's why I decided not to cut it off. But if you don't want to hang this, put this on there, you can just trim that off. This is a wall decor, so really the jingle bells aren't really going to jingle. But if you want to put it on the door, it'll be awesome to have them jingling as you open it up. I'm going to go ahead and make one a little bit longer than the other. And then I'm going to go ahead and also tie them on, just so that the weight of one doesn't pull the other. Okay, and here I'm just going to trim a little bit of the string. I still want that little bit of a rustic farmhouse look. Okay, that's that. And now I want to make a bow to decorate my tree. And I can make a little one down here and then some on the top. So I'm going to take some of this. I do have enough. Just a tiny little tail. take a little piece of chenille. Tie it around in the middle section of the loops. Now you could have that chenille long enough to tie around onto there. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue and then just stick it to the bottom of the bell and then just fix your bow. Make sure it dries up first. I like to pinch the loops together and then round this off. And the reason that I'm doing this, pinching them together, is that that'll hide the chenille stem that's right there. And then what you could do is add a little drop of glue right on one side so that you can pinch the two fabrics of the loops together. And that covers up the little chenille stem that's in there between them. Okay? So there we go. That looks so cute. I love it. It's really simple. I mean, you don't even have to decorate it anymore. That looks gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to take another piece of chenille stem, a little bit longer this time. And I want to make another bow for the top of my tree. And I do want it to have some little tails. So let's see how much ribbon. I don't have a lot of ribbon left over. That's okay, because if we'd use this one, we'd have more. So just get yourself maybe a couple of rolls of ribbon. If you want to put lots of tails and such hanging off your tree. I want my tails to be about so long. So I know that I have the rest of this to use for loops. So I can go ahead and just create small loops. I'm not going to make big ones because it's a small tree. Let's move this over. And I think that's about it, because there's my tails. One can be shorter than the other if you definitely wanted to make another loop, but that's good enough. 4 loops. Get some chenille stem, tie it around, and then you can use that same chenille stem. Let's bring all your little bits, your tails downward. Let's see, let's go it this way, okay? And then just tie it to the very top branch of the tree. And again, make sure those little ends are into the tree so they don't scratch up your wall or door. And I can't say that enough. I guess I say it too much. Okay, and now you can loop or poof your loops. And you can do the same thing. You could add a little bit of glue in there to bring them together and pinch the fabric of the loops together so that you don't see the chenille. But this is good enough because you don't see the chenille. Or you could put a little bunch of berries in there. Okay, since I put my hand in there, was doing all that moving, I kind of squished my branches. So now I'm just gonna tuck these back in here. I'm gonna check my lights and make sure that I'm not covering anything. Nope, everything still shows. There's this light that was at the very top. Just gonna maneuver it. The lights are still showing. Okay. Now I've got these little ornament balls. Take some of those. I'm going to slide them all out because I do want to use some of these white ones. Now these little ornament balls come with little strings to put on them to hang. We don't even need that. I have one here that's a little bit crushed. No big deal because that can just be hidden by gluing it inside of the tree. Okay, I also have these ornaments. And now I'm double thinking them if I need them because they are kind of big. So you know what? I'm going to nix that and just use the ornament balls because I can decide that. All right. Let's start putting some glue. Now these little part here on these little ornament, I just go ahead and take those off because what happens is if you just glue this down and you just put glue on the little bit here, this little ball could easily fall out. Now these don't, they're really nice and tight, but some of them could be loose and they could fall out. Now you could either take the time and put glue in there and make sure these are glued on well before you actually put glue to glue them, or just take them off because you're not going to need them. with any ornament ball. You can just take off that little cap off. Okay, so put that in there. Let's use that little ball that had the little dent in it. Why not, right? We'll put some glue there, a little bit of glue here. Just making sure that it's not landing on the wire of the lights. It's not going to harm the lights. But we're just going to put the little balls in there wherever we want and fill up our tree, and we shall be back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I finished putting all the ornament balls that I feel are fill up my little tree. You can add more if you like. Like I said, there was 15 in the packet, and obviously I didn't use them all. I used like half of it. Now I'm just going to use a little bit of glue on my ribbon just to pin it down to anywhere on the pine so that it doesn't move out of its place where I've tucked it in. There we go. Okay, so the other thing that I did before I'm completely finished is at the bottom here. I felt like it was a little too bare, so I've gone ahead and I wrapped one of these chenille garland ties on the bottom, or pine garland ties. So I'm going to use another one, and now this time I'm going to direct it over to this side. Just twist it a couple of times just to create a couple more branches down here to get some more coverage so it doesn't look so bare. And there we go, that's it. We didn't use these ornaments. You certainly could use them, maybe something a little bit smaller. I thought they were pretty, I thought they would have worked, but you know, as always, something happens and I decide to change things. I decided not to include that, but instead I included some little balls at the bottom, and that is it. I'm going to hold this up so that you can see it at a better angle. All right, everyone, here is my finished Dollar Tree Christmas tree wall decor. Again, this could go on a door. Here's the back so that you can look at it. I have a little chenille there to hang it from. But there you go, the little bells at the bottom to jingle. They will look awesome hanging. Probably even if you have something on your wall, maybe a framed art, if you make a couple of them, one on each side. Someone asked one time, what can I put on each side of my fireplace? And I think this would be great. You know, like you have your mantle and just hang these on the side, and you have a little mirror here, maybe some candles up here in the front. They would look awesome. But if you can also hang them on a door, maybe for your teacher's room, your office door, maybe for someone in a nursery, because just light this up for a little while, and I think that'll brighten their day. Maybe someone's staying at the hospital. I hope you enjoyed my little tree idea. I hope that you will give me a big old thumbs up. I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you have, thank you so very much. Hit that little notification bell so that you can be told when I upload a video, which is every Tuesday and Friday. That's my little spew. Make sure you share on your social medias. And as always, enjoy.